Ralph Bagnall here from Microjig. Now, as you may know, the GR100 is the basic gripper. The GR200 is the same basic gripper with the adjustable spacer and the stabilizing plate as added accessories. And in this video, I'm going to show you 4 reasons that you want the stabilizing plate. Now, as you know, the gripper is always supposed to ride against the rip fence at the table saw. But that kind of limits you into how wide a piece you can rip. With the stabilizing plate added to the balance support and using that to ride against the fence, I can now rip stock up to about 9 inches wide. And you may say, well, once the fence is 9 inches away from the blade, I really don't need the gripper at all. But that's not true. When you want to rip thin, flexible materials like this plastic or some veneer, you want the ability of the gripper to give you the leg on each side of your cut to be able to hold that thin material down, keep it from riding up over the blade, and keep it from bouncing and shattering, which causes tool marks and breakage. Now here I've got a piece that I want to resaw 3/8 of an inch wide. I've got my blade set up so that it's just coming out of the top of the material, and I've got my gripper with the 1/4 inch leg on one side of the cut, the center leg adjusted so that it'll pass by the blade, and I've got my balance support holding everything in place. Seems like a good solution to the problem, except there's really nothing to keep this piece from moving at the bottom. It can rock out, especially once the cut starts. And I want to make sure that I'm going to hold this in place. I can solve this problem with the stabilizing plate. I can adjust it so that it's touching the bottom of my part, not pressing it into the blade, but just holding it in place. And now I've got that cut set up, and I'm using my stabilizing plate very much like a featherboard. Now sometimes you want to take a more aggressive cut on a smaller piece. I've got my gripper set up, but every time this bit comes around from the inside of the fence, it's going to want to push that piece out a little bit, and I want to make sure it stays good and tight on the fence. My stabilizing plate has one flat side, and the other side has a hook. And I'm going to use the hook side to not only hold the piece tight against the fence, but also to prevent it from kicking back if I catch a knot or something else unexpected happens. So again, I can just slip it into place, line it up where I want it, lock it down, readjust my gripper, and now we're ready to make this cut. Now here I want to do a beading cut on the bottom edge of a taller part. So again, I'm going to use my stabilizing plate to keep that bottom from coming out because my gripper is up fairly tall. But because it's a longer piece and I'm going to use 2 grippers, I'm going to use the flat side of the stabilizing plate and use my grippers in combination. So there's 4 great ways you can get more from the stabilizing plate with your gripper.
Microjig. Work safer. Work smarter.